I'm lost. What's up, guys? Dan here, Coalcracker, Bushcraft. Beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. So I'm not actually lost. I just don't know where I'm at the current moment. So that's what we're going to talk about, ways that we can mark the trail so we can get back to this point. Now there's some other reasons I'm also doing this video. Recently, one of my older videos got a little bit more traction, and a lot of people have been asking about blazes and what are blazes. So I thought, well, we're going to discuss that because there's different ways that we can mark blazes on trees so we know our travel route in and out of camp. Now, if you're an avid hiker, you know what a blaze is. Blaze is a painted mark on a tree, and generally they will tell you if the trail goes to the right, to the left, or straight ahead, also danger areas and things like that. But for woodsmen or woods ladies, it's very important that we know this concept at a little bit different level, because we can use this if we would get misplaced or lost from our current location. Okay, so if you're lost and you like, hey, this is where I'm at, and I think I came from that way down there, I can mark my trail that way, and that way if I walk for a while and I realize that's not the correct way, I can follow my trail back to my beginning point that I was originally realizing I'm lost from. Okay, hope that all makes sense to everybody. So, how do we mark that trail? So there's a bunch of different ways that we can do this. I'm going to show you two, and then you can also use this technique if you're in a new area and you're just leaving camp to explore, or even hunting or fishing. If you are going into an area, it's an easy way to mark where you need to go. So let's start with the most traditional method, and that is going to be actually blazing a tree with an axe or a knife. All right, so blaze marks are a way we identify our walking trail. Okay, you're generally not going to have a walking trail if you're lost. You're just wandering through the woods. So we are making our own trail. We're blazing through the woods. So we're going to mark the trees with blaze marks. So how we would do that is very simple. You're going to go about eye level with your blaze, and you're just going to take a little bit of this outer bark off, just enough that you can identify that that is something out of the ordinary, okay? Then you're gonna not only mark it on this way, because I would be walking in this direction, but I'm gonna come to the back of the tree and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna knock a little bit of that off, because as I travel in this direction, if I don't find where I'm going and I need to now get back to my last known location, I now have a mark. Otherwise, you're walking and you're constantly doing this, trying to find these things. So you would mark both sides and then travel in that direction. So very simple. So that would be my first blaze. This is where I'm starting from because this is my known location. I would begin to walk in the general area that I want to walk, and then once I start to get far enough away that it's getting hard to see this blaze mark, what I would want to do is blaze the next tree. So it's not going to be a very short jaunt. It's going to be as far out as I can stretch this and still visibly see this, which again is going to depend on your scenario. In my case, if I only walk 20 or 30 feet from this location, okay, I can't see anything because it becomes heavy pines. So I'm gonna have to mark a lot more often. But if we would go back in this direction away from camera, it's a lot more opened up. So I can see a good 40, 50 yards. So I'd be able to blaze possibly that far away. But again, it's gonna depend on the terrain that you're in. So that's method one, blazing with an axe or a knife. As you can see, that does create some damage to the environment. So if you are gonna just do this for recreation, I do not do that, okay? If you're in a situation that is like life or death, you're truly lost and you have no other way to mark, then that is probably going to be your best method. I would rather get in trouble for blazing some trees and be alive than be dead and not be in trouble. So that's on you though, right? You got to make that decision. But the easier thing to do is just always carry some of this stuff along with you, and this is just flagging tape. So you can buy this at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's a big roll of tape, not sticky, that's brightly colored. It comes in all different colors that you can utilize to mark your blazes. So when it comes to marking blazes with ribbon, okay, it's the same concept as we just talked about with the axe marks, okay? All that you're going to do with your ribbon though is tie your ribbon eye level around a tree. So I'm just going to take a little bit of ribbon, I'm going to wrap it around a tree, and I'm simply just going to knot that on there, just like this. Now what I prefer to do, okay, is take an extra second, twist it, and keep the knot, okay, away from camp. That way when I'm following it back in, or if for some reason I go left or right off of the trail, and so when I'm heading away from camp, no knot, and when I'm heading back to camp, there's a knot, okay? So really easy, but I would mark the tree like this, and I would begin to walk. After walking for a bit, you wanna make sure you can still see your last blaze. Now, we are very, very close. That blaze is right here on that tree, okay? So this is like what you don't have to mark every single tree. Go a good distance, but just make sure every so often you peek back like this to make sure that you can still see that, and then you mark your next tree at that point, okay? Sharp turns also, you're gonna wanna blaze a little bit more often. So again, I would just pick my tree like right here, and I would just tie my next marker onto that, and I would continue this process all the way out. All right, and just like that, another method. So we have the very traditional method and a not so traditional method. Not so traditional with the ribbon, you can always take them ribbons down after the fact, and then you're leaving no trace whatsoever. So again, different ways to mark your trail in and out of camp, or in and out of your lost area. Very simple, very easy for you to do. So more tools for the toolbox. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com for all our classes, our gear, and our blog. And until next video, stay in the woods.